what's our presentation about today, Sean?
Well, it's about not letting the gloom and doom of our current industry bring you down, because actually the future is looking really exciting, but we just need to step into it and think, how can we think about things differently, find the opportunity in the challenge, etc. So hopefully we'll be doing that today.
Sounds good. So for some of you, if you want to get your phones out and take a picture of the screen, you can have some fun when you get back to work or even listening to the presentation today with our gloomsters bingo. And these are phrases that you'll hear at work on a constant basis. Things like roles on hold, budgets are frozen.
AI is stealing my job.
All that. We work hard and we play hard. We keep your CV on file. All of those great classics are in there, like a now, that's what I call music composition, isn't it?
A now composition of gloom.
And of course, purple squirrel. Where can you get by without having a good old purple squirrel?
Love a purple squirrel. So, to get started, we wanted to do a bit of a temperature check to see how gloomy everyone is actually feeling. Unfortunately, technology has let me down, so the irony being I'll talk about it as the great enabler later on. That's not lost on me. But we are going to have to go retro and just do a raise of hands, unfortunately. So, how often in your working week do you encounter a gloomster, a naysayer, a doomy, gloomy person that's just really bringing down the energy? So, put your hands up if you encounter that every single day. Oh, do you know, there's more hands than I was expecting, actually. That's really sad to see.
That's a lot.
Oh, so, okay. Fair enough, let's move on to the next option. Hands up if you encounter a gloomster a few times a week, but they're really quite persistent, and they're really, that niggling energy in the background is really sort of still getting you down. Yeah,
Well, somebody there on back.
Few more hands. Okay, hands up if you occasionally encounter some gloom and doom, but actually you're able to sort of pull yourself out of that and focus on the positives. Good stuff. I love to see it. And then lastly, please put your hand up if there is no gloom and doom where you work. You are in TA Nirvana. Everything is absolutely brilliant. And if you do have your hand up, can you shout out where you work so that we can all apply afterwards? But no, in all seriousness, there's a lot of doom and gloom in the TA sphere at the moment. So we're going to pick out a few of the more common gloomy themes and then try and flip it all on its head.
Okay, so what are those sort of common themes? So there are things in our control and there's things not in our control. People saying the economy's doomed and it's not performing. There's a lot of worry about political meltdown, as we know. People saying that TA doesn't have a seat at the top table. The competition for talent is fierce. AI is stealing all our jobs. Big tech stacks. Bulging is the new word that
I inadvertently appear to have created a new word, bulging. I thought that was actually already a word. So.
And of course, the great candidate ghosting. So those are a few we want to address.
Cool. So as I mentioned, what we want to do is explore these themes in a bit more detail, but flip the script. So we come out of the gloomster mindset and step into our roles as game-changing, talent-blazing talent agents. That's a bit of a tongue twister that I will ask you all to say after a few drinks later.
Perfect. So, political meltdown. We all know what's happening in the news. There's trade wars, there's actual wars, there's politics all over the place, etc., with tax rises, no tax rises, etc. Obviously out of our control, but we have to rely on the solution, and the current solution is our good friend over there. And we were thinking, you can just hear him say, I will make recruitment great again. So that's my very poor Donald impression. But
indeed it is.
On the economy, again, we have to rely on who's out there and our famous leaders, etc. So we won't spend any time on that, and we don't have any real solutions to it. So we're going to the meat of the presentation.
So, well, it seems to have reverted to an actual word, but burgeoning, bulging tech stacks. So another quick poll, I apologize, but hands up if you were lucky enough to pick the applicant tracking system that your company uses. Again, love it, love to see it. Now, put your hand up if you were unfortunately lumbered with the applicant tracking system that just so happen to fit into your organization's wider tech landscape. Yeah. So unfortunately, most of us find ourselves in that second bucket. And look, we know these tech giants, the recruitment modules that they offer, it's a bit of a poor cousin. There's no investment. They don't care about the candidate experience. They've been hacked together so that they can be offered as a product to their wider sort of existing customer base who's using some of their fancier tech like SAP HANA or SAP Ariba. So where we've ended up is the innovative group that we are. Right, well, what else is out there in the market tech-wise that I can bolt in and slot in and, plaster over to try and get a recruitment process that has some semblance of the great service that I actually want to deliver. But by the time you've been through all the different stages and you've plugged this in and you've patched that over, you've ended up with 30 or 40 different products that all come with this great promise of super efficiencies, great candidate experience. All of that stuff gets eroded because you're spending time navigating this platform, that platform. Oh God, this bit's broken, so I'm gonna have to raise 3 tickets for that, et cetera, et cetera. The candidate experience is pretty similar. They're having to navigate lots of different tech platforms, logins, this test over there, that test over there as well. It's a bit of a mess, right? Now, that does sound quite gloomy, but hopefully the opportunity that we're seeing is a bit of a shift in the market. We are living in the AI world. We are living in a new place of brand new, sexy, fun, emerging technology. And some of these large-scale tech providers are starting to panic a little bit about their market share. So they can't just rely on customers saying, okay, well, I guess we'll just have this then because we've got the rest of it. So they are starting to put a bit more investment in. They are starting to look at their product offering, and they are trying to include some of those more popular bolt-ons that we all use into the existing tech flow that they offer. So the opportunity, as I see it, or at least I hope I see it, is that in the very near future, we're going to have a really good baseline of applicant tracking technology for those of us that unfortunately can't choose. But we'll have a really good baseline of tech, and then we'll be able to pick the real value add products to slot in that we know is going to really drive efficiency and create that great customer experience. And I say customer because we are also a customer. We are the biggest customer of all of this technology, the biggest user, and we're often forgotten and not considered when we talk about experiences with this tech. So I could give examples. SAP SuccessFactors with its new gender decoder tool that it's building in. Again, their partnership with Microsoft Teams to try and help make interview scheduling a bit less painful in their platform. I won't go into it at the moment, but there's the AI screening tools. Lots of big tech giants are partnering with AI screening firms at the moment to embed that. So the future, hopefully, is going to be that we see a bit of a 360 and end up with better tech, less bolt-ons, and less mess to manage. And anyway, on that note, I'll hand over to Matthew.
Perfect. So one of the things we know about our industry, and which is probably the Achilles heel, is candidate experience. We're seeing obviously more applications coming through, and we're finding it very difficult to process those applications. Often candidates are not getting a reply back, they're getting frustrated, they're going back out onto different socials or telling friends about the poor candidate experience. Often candidates can come in and have an interview, not hear back about the interview or get constructive feedback of how they can seek to improve as they move forward. So again, what the great thing is that we're facing is that technology will help us obviously in this regard. As we start to bring in more AI and have that seamless transition between application and AI and the candidate experience, we should start to see less of the issues we've been facing now moving forward. Now, the key thing that as recruitment leaders in here is that the thing that we don't do enough of is to put ourselves in the candidate's shoes. We look at things from our perspective. Does the tech work? Do we get the application into the ATS? And then we move forward like that. We're not considering what is it like to apply? How long does it take? How seamless is it? What are we actually presenting as our brand experience? Is it positive? So again, a key takeaway from today is don't think about things from your perspective. Put on the candidate's shoes, take a little roam around, have a look what it's like to interact with your company, and then move from there. Just of interest, does anybody know and put their hand up whose shoes we got on screen at the moment? Yeah, Prince, that's correct. Yeah, good spot, well done.
Oh, brilliant. So, look, there's not enough time in this year for me to really get into the concept of AI and what it's doing and how it's disrupting our industry. But I wanted to try and tackle the question of, is it here to steal our jobs, right? Well, for one, I would like to see AI down 7 espressos and have a little cry at its desk at 7 a.m. on a Tuesday. But in all seriousness, there is a lot of gloom and doom around this topic at the moment, and I guess, is AI stealing our jobs? I think the answer is it's stealing part of them, but I think probably in the space of this audience, in this group, it's stealing the part that we know we can't really be asked to do. All that heavy administrative burden, all the transactional stuff, all those bits and pieces, it can take anywhere between 20 to 30% of your day overall. Talking about audit compliance, summarizing this, pulling that together, all of those elements, we can and should expect that AI is going to come in and sweep all of that up. So if AI does come in and sweep all of that up, which is great news because, you know, we're using lots of other technology, time to hire is now 4 hours, what are we doing with the rest of our working day? Now, there is concern, right? Organizations have the bottom line. They're thinking, well, we can reduce that group of people by X amount because the efficiency's been gained. What I actually see happening is that the remainder of that time, and time is so precious that we have available to us, is going to be spent doing the stuff that we're really good at. It's all the value add piece. Recruiters are human-centric, right? Everything we do revolves around people. Candidates, hiring managers, colleagues in employee relations, arguments with whomever, partnerships with whomever. Everything we do is very much centered around humans. And in recent time, what we found is we're not getting to spend as much energy doing that activity because we are stuck picking up all the admin bits and pieces because there's nobody else to do it, right? And we're recruiters, so obviously we're going to just pick it up. So that's the opportunity that I see in AI. Outside of that, I do see in the future the role that we do will change. AI is already reshaping the industry, we know that. I think there will be a much bigger expectation for us to focus on the value add piece, but much further afield outside of recruitment, workforce planning, future skills, owning internal mobility, talent development initiatives, succession planning, piecing all of that together, maximizing the talent that we use and have internally, versus also focusing on the sourcing and the networking and the building great connections outside of our workplace as well. So I do think that the very nature of the work we do is going to change, but it's really exciting because it's all the stuff that we want to be doing. You know, we don't want to be sat there uploading the 115th pack of interview notes every day. Technology will help us move away from that into the arena that we really want to be in, so that's the opportunity. Now, I'm probably overrunning, but it would be remiss of me not to mention that we talk about AI a lot, but naturally we need to make sure that any interaction we have with AI is done in a responsible and ethical way. I'm not just talking about ISO accreditations, bias audits, you know, these are the basic things that we're going to have to do moving forward. I'm talking about the bigger ramifications societally, the impact on the workforce, what that means, how we look at talent, redeploy it, upskill it, move it about. I'm going to talk a little bit about that later as well. But also the sustainability piece. How much power, water, energy, what's the impact on the planet? Because the planet is where all the human lives, and don't forget, we're human-focused people. So these things are important as well. And on that note, I'm going to hand over.
I hope that's allayed some people's fears about AI, but we shall see, won't we? We know that one of the key demands of modern business is we need more data, 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 data. And I think this is the most exciting time that I've been in TA, that we're able to bring in things now like talent insights. Raise your hands if you're providing talent insights into your board or HR leaders at the moment. So that's a phenomenal response compared to a year ago.
Definitely.
And it's great. What I saw when I was at EY, we started off more as a transactional recruitment team, but the more we started to provide these talent insights, showing talent flows coming into the company, showing talent flows going out of the company and when people were leaving to, which universities were successful and educational institutions, what our competitors are doing, and then looking at some of the future skill sets out in the marketplace, that gave us a more relevant position to talk with the board. That meant we could start to affect location strategy as we heat mapped the key market and showed where the talent was and where we should have offices. So that means that we're starting to have much more of a powerful position on the top table with the board. Of course, as Sean said, is that introducing all this technology means that there's an expectation that we do more for less. But that's always been the case. Before AI came around, we were expected to look at what can we offshore, whether we put that to Manila or India or to Belfast or to an onshore sort of RPO solution here. There's always been that, how can we get recruiters to focus on the exciting bit of their job, i.e. meeting, building relationships with candidates and spending time with hiring managers. So we're hoping that the technology and AI will help us and the recruiters behind have much more relevance and roles that we can be much more happy and really proud of.
Quite right, quite right. Thank you, Matthew. Oh, the competition for talent, the war on talent. It's great, it's fierce, we fight it every day. As you know, 30% of this room is emailing the last available Python engineer on LinkedIn to see if they're interested. And God forbid they happen to sit in an underrepresented group, because then they're receiving 2 to 3 times as many emails on a daily basis as anybody else. I think the opportunity that we have here is to start thinking about this very differently. And if you are playing buzzword bingo, I'm going to throw it out there. There's lots of talk about it at the moment. It's the skills-based hiring piece, right? Lots of organizations talking about skills-based hiring, but when you look under the hood of the car, it's competency-based interviews with a few bells and whistles and skills, skills, skills. Look, skills-based hiring is not unfamiliar to us, right? We've always hired for skills. We've hired for skills in conjunction with other elements like experience and knowledge, but the reality is we know what skills are. We've been hiring for skills and against skills for a very long time. I want to give a really great example that I've come across recently of an organization that's doing skills, actual, true skills-based hiring. So they have, I will caveat, invested significantly in their technology provision. They've had huge senior leadership buy-in to do this. And coupled with that, they have all the data that underpins all of this decision-making. But they spent a good 6 months building a proper internal skills taxonomy, which is hard work, right? This stuff isn't easy peasy. I mean, I can speak about the BBC. You know, we've got 943 different job types. Couple that with another 1,000 technical addendums and all the rest of it. I mean, it's a minefield. Where do you start? Anyway, back to my great example. So this is an organization, it's going through significant transformation, aren't we all at the minute? They are having to reduce the number of accountants that they have in their finance department, but they are also concurrently growing cybersecurity analysts, which is a common industry trend at the minute. So they've done this incredibly intensive skills taxonomy and skills mapping underpinned by great tech and data, etc. And what they realized is that actually the very baseline skills to be a successful accountant in this organization are exactly the same to be a successful cybersecurity analyst. So they went to this reducing pool of accountants and said, hey, bit left field, but we've got an idea here. We want to partner with you and offer you an opportunity to stay in the business. We will work to coach, develop, etc., get you any qualifications that are required. But we want to see if you'd be interested in mobilizing into a completely different field, a completely different job, a totally new way of working. And out of 30, 18 said, do you know what? Yes, we'll give it a go. Fast forward a year, and those 18 people are all now operating as cybersecurity analysts in that firm. So that, for me, is the true beauty and opportunity that we have with skills-based hiring, but it takes hard work, right? These aren't barriers we can overcome. We can overcome anything. We have done, right? But it takes work and investment, and hopefully, if we've got great tech, which we've talked about, and we've got great data, we can define the strategic value narrative to get that senior leadership buy-in. But yeah, I just wanted to share that example as a really good one.
Perfect.
Over to you.
Gen Z, obviously we have new people coming into the workplace with new demands and new ideas. And I think the great thing is that it's refreshing that some of our old styles are being challenged by those coming into the marketplace. So again, my advice here is don't fear Gen Z coming in and pushing, coming up with new ideas, challenging the existing status quo. We need it as an industry. We could talk about this all day, but I know we're pressed for time.
Yeah, pressed for
but
time.
Gen Z is a real part of our solution moving forward. And let's have a quick brief view of the future, Sean.
Yeah, well, look, the future, some of the things we're talking about, it's right here, right now, you know, and the expectation is that we're going to pick it up and deliver it because that's always the way, isn't it? Recruitment will do it. But actually, it is an exciting time, and we have the insights and the knowledge to be able to pick this up and move it forward. We are a little short on time, so I'll summarize this. The world is your talent pool now. If you are able to mobilize skills-based hiring, make use of the best technology out there, is some phenomenal sourcing tech out there. I mean, my sourcing team are in here somewhere. They're using Copilot to do X-ray search, builds, and deploy all of that stuff. We're pulling talent out of places we would never in a million years have had access to it before this time. The world is the talent pool. Open it up. I'm not going to get into the geographical element because I don't want to spend the next hour talking about right to work and all of that fun stuff. But I think we're in a good position where we've got great access, more access than ever to talent, depending on how we want to approach that sourcing piece. Technology, I've talked about it a lot, but in summary, it's here to partner with you. It's not a threat. Use it as a tool to build your own career, right? And then I can't actually remember what the last point was. Oh, I can. It was the C-suite. We see lots of posts on LinkedIn. We need a seat at the table. The seat is there. We need to sit in it. And we can do that now using all of the available bits and pieces that we have. We will build the strategic narrative. We will showcase the value of the work that we do. And there is an understanding at that particularly senior level now. They know a business is only as successful as the people that it has. If you're a business with no people, you're merely an entity.
Brilliant.
And that's where we come in.
So our summary is recruitment isn't dying, it's evolving, and we're more important than ever before. What a great profession to be in. We're working with people, we're building relationships with people, and now with skills-based hiring, we can truly take people with different skills and help train, nurture, and guide them in new careers, which will be valuable to them in their future. You're more than a job filler. You're a talent scout. You're a business partner. You're providing insights into the board with talent reports. This is an exciting time to build up your skills and experience. You're all marketeers now. You're all employment band marketeers to sell your company. When we all have AI, what's the key differentiator at the end of the day? All companies use AI to reach out to the top talent. The top talent will get multitudes of requests, probably shy away from LinkedIn because they're getting too many requests. Then that comes down to the skills of the people in this room: employment branding, candidate experience, and traditional headhunting. So the future is still very, very bright for recruitment. We've got better tools, the best tools we've ever had.
Best tools ever.
I remember, 10 years ago when we were talking about these things, we'd be talking about an ATS and how brilliant that would be and that sort of thing. Now we're talking about AI, avatars, what we can introduce, talent insights. So it's brilliant and exciting. So the future is exciting, and we hope, and Sean's going to find out whether we've allayed your fears in that 25 minutes.
So in summary, as I can see some of the organisers twitching now, a less gloomy poll. So I'm not going to run through all the options, but at least please put your hand up if you are feeling a little bit less gloomy about things at the minute.
Oh, that's good.
That's good to see. Good to see.
I like that. And it's lovely. I'm seeing the people with fans here. Yeah. We have the spotlights. And I'm baking, but you're doing it all right there.
Hot up here.
It's boiling with the lights. So what we're going to do is we started with a sing-song, and we're going to end, and hopefully some of you will be brave enough to join us, that we've got always look on the bright side of hiring.
I can't take any credit. It's all Matthew.
Some things in work are bad. They can really make you mad. Like your inbox full of ghosted interview slots. But when you're feeling down, be gloomy, give a whistle. And remember, you can help folks get a job.
So come on, everybody.
And always look on the bright side of hiring. Always look on the light side of recruitment.
It does fit if you make it fit.
If life's full of endless wrecks, there's something you've forgotten, and that's to laugh, smile, dance and sing. If you're feeling in the dumps, damn, be gloomy chumps. Just remember your recruiter and whistle. Always look on the bright side of
Doing a
hiring.
dance.
Du-du-du-du-du-du-du.
Always look on the light side of recruitment.
Brilliant. Thank you
Thank
very much,
you.
everybody.
Thanks
I know
very
the next
much,
session
everybody.
is there.
Have a brilliant rest of the day. Enjoy RecFest.
And for those who want to have a photo and a selfie down the front, I'm sure you're happy to do a couple of photos. So please come down and ask Kate for a photo.
Brilliant. Thank you.
Cheers. Thank you.